Sacchitanand from Motilal Oswal is now joining us this afternoon. Sachit, after a 1,000-point rally, yesterday's 2% cut, how does it change the charts?
Well, good afternoon. Very important point that you have raised. We've already seen a phenomenal run in the Nifty, and if you look at what we have seen yesterday and what we are seeing today, is I would conclude it as a consolidation phase. Probably, if you look at the overall structure, we are still not seeing any sign of exhaustion or a reversal. So far as the immediate, which is the daily chart, is concerned. So my sense is that the market is locked within a range of 7,600, 7,750, and it could oscillate there for next few trading sessions. But so far as this level of 7,600 is defended well, the probability of a breakout above 7,750 remains high. So what we are recommending is 7580 should be a trading stop on a closing basis, and positions on the long side should only be reduced in case Nifty closes below 7580 from here on.
Right, but as of now, you would advise people to go long with that particular stop loss?
Well, absolutely yes. If you look at the reward to risk, it is very much favorable. We are very close to the lower end of the band. And on the higher side, 7750 would be the approximate target for next couple of sessions.
Right. Do you think the FII number, which turned negative yesterday, that will be a key important number to track going ahead? That will determine what the markets would do, or would they break key levels or not?
Well, one day of a number may not make much sense. If we have a series or a sequence of negative flows, then probably it could dampen the sentiment. But overall, even if you look at the previous expiry, we saw almost every day we had a positive number, and there was only one day wherein the figure was in the red. But so far as the numbers are concerned, I think they are gelling well with the kind of activity that we have seen in last couple of weeks. So probably a number, a consistent negative number could dampen the sentiment. But overall, we are not finding much evidence to really conclude that the up move that we have been seeing since 7250 has been exhausted. So the signs are that Nifty is consolidating, and probably we may see one more leg on the upside shown.
5 minutes to go for closing. We were talking to Sachit. He's still there with us. Gaurav Bisa from LKP Securities is also now joining us. Gaurav, good afternoon. Can you first start with the banking space, especially what's happening with ICICI Axis? Do you think the downsides over there are slightly higher?
Good afternoon. They certainly seems to have found good amount of shorts in last couple of trading sessions. Seen 230 emerging as a strong resistance on a very immediate basis. So for people who want to go short at these levels, I think it would make sense. And then unless it's trading about 25, the chances of levels of 215 would be much more as compared to what the chances of a little bit high levels would be. So yes, there's small breakdown that is seen. Some long puts are seen getting added. The short futures are being formed. So the data is negative for a lot of these banking names, not only just ICICI Bank, but all across all the board. I think there's some pressure that is clearly seen over there.
Right. Sachit, what will be your view on these banking names, Axis and ICICI?
Well, as we have seen that most of these counters are in line with Nifty, and we have still not seen a previous swing or a previous bottom in breach. They are somewhere trading closer to that, but a breakdown is something which should be awaited. But so far as this particular sequence of higher tops and higher bottoms are continuing, we would refrain from shorting any of these particular candidates.
Right, but at what level would you look to short, or is it because you don't believe Nifty would go below 7580?
Yes, if you specifically look at a stock like ICICI, which is obviously a major component of Nifty, the level of around 221 would be a critical one, and in case if it slips below that, a level of 220 would be a comforting level to create some short positions. But so far as this particular level is defended, I would refrain from shorting any of the private banking names.
Right. Jet Airways, Gaurav, what's the view over there? Very volatile, but it has been having a positive bias.
Yeah, we've been quite bullish, and we were advising to our clients as well. But at these levels, I don't think it garners a fresh long. with the kind of momentum and the positions that you've seen getting built, the chances are that it may test levels of around about 670, 680. That is also quite possible. So people who have already bought into the stock, I think they can hold with the trailing stop losses or keep a stop loss of 600, 605 on trailing stop losses, trailing basis. And for fresh entry, I think dips can be utilized, but at current levels, the risk was not that favorable.
Right. Sachit, any view on Jet Airways, Interglobe Aviation?
Well, the momentum has been really strong, especially Jet Airways. We have seen the stock almost gaining by 100 rupees in last 4 trading sessions. There's no sign of weakness even right now, so in line with what has been discussed. There is headroom for the stock around up to 680, 675, and we could see this particular momentum getting continued there.
Right. We'll wait and see as to, how this name goes. Just stay on, Gaurav, as well as Sachit. About 2.5 minutes remaining for markets to close. 14 points higher for the Nifty. Decent compared to where we started, that's where we ended. Volumes today were low. It was a slow day of trading session today. Ashoka Buildcon was down 19% from the word go. Alok Industries down 10. Century Textile up about 9.5%, 10%, 582. In fact, most of the Birla Group stocks did well, so that was one name within that pack. HCC up 8.5, Heidelberg Cement up 8, India Cements up 6.5, 89.90 rupees for India Cements. Delta Corp up about 8%, 75 rupees. Tribhuvan Das Bhimji up 6.5, Escorts up 6%, Bajaj Hindustan up 5%, EID Parry up 5%, Jet Airways up close to 5%. We just spoke about that to both the guests. Tata Steel was the top gainer on the Nifty pack. Extremely strong move today, 5% higher. Gayatri Projects up 5%, SD Aluminium down 5%. Reliance Communication, news coming in towards the second half about trading spectrum. It's up 5% on close. Kirloskar Oil down up 5%. Hindalco up close to 5%. Bharat Forge 790. It opened at 790. It closed at 790. So from the first tick itself, markets had priced in the problems. Dish TV up 5%. Sharda Cropchem, we spoke to the management this afternoon. VIP up 5%, 118 rupees. Castec Technologies 5 rupees now. Cummins India up 5%, KSK Energy up close to 5%. Aditya Birla Fashion 3.8% higher, 145. SRF Limited 4.5% higher. SKS Microfinance led by the Credit Suisse report up 4%. Apollo Tyres up 4%, 172, 173. Balrampur Chini up 4%. KRBL up close to 3.8. AstraZeneca Pharma up 4.5. Birla Corporation up 4. Havells almost at a new high, 328. Orient Cement up 3.5%, Welspun Corp down 3%, NMDC up 3.7%. As far as some of the other names are concerned, Jaicorp was up 3.5%, SML was up 3%, Greaves Cotton was up 3.7%, MRPL was up 3.6%, Karnataka Bank was up 3.7%, 102, 103, Karur Vysya Bank was down 3%. That's the closing bell. Markets have shot for the day, 14 points on a provisional basis, 28 points for Sensex. We should get the adjusted closing coming in very soon. Bajaj Electrical was up 3%, Jindal Steel up 3%, Bombay Dyeing up 3.5%, Syngene International Limited up 3%, Tata Sponge up close to 3.3%. BEML was down 3%, 942. Natco Pharma was up 3.2%, Tata Delhi Maharashtra Services up 3%, Somani Ceramics off late done pretty well. Top gainers on your screen, Tata Steel up 5%, 328.3 for Tata Steel, 14.5 million shares traded. Hindalco up 4%, 14.5 million shares. Again, metals as a pack did very well today. Ultratech up 3%, 3,195. All the Birla Group stocks did well. ACC was up 2.4%, 1,425 for ACC. Eicher Motors was up 2.5%, 19,170 for Eicher Motors. Grasim was up about 2%. 3,916. Tata Motors up 1.5%, 376, 377, 7.5 million shares for Tata Motors. Idea was up 1.5%, 111 for Idea Cellular. L&T was up 1.5%, 1,213, 1,214 for that name. Let's look at some of the losers as well. Bosch was down 3%, continuously reducing in terms of the last few days. 19,200 for Bosch. Tech Mahindra down 2.5% since morning was weak. Has done well, but still was weak today. Infosys 1.4% decline, 1,201 rupees for Infosys. Axis Bank was among the top losers, 427 for that name. We were talking to Gaurav and Sachit, both of them are still with us. Gaurav, any view on Tata Steel? A short covering rally, or you see fresh buying also coming in?
No, I don't think it's just a fresh, it's a short covering. Rather, every dip in the stock, however small that be, it is being utilized to strong positions, whether it is Tata Steel, whether it is something like Hindalco or JSW Steel, etc., etc. The metal names are just not seeing short positions, and I think it will be futile to try to pick the very top of the metal names that I mentioned, where the top would be. I think let's go with the flow. We will get a good chance of seeing some downside in the metal names, but I would not like to anticipate that right now. The time is that you utilize the dips to go long into the stock, have a small stop loss, but I don't see a significant shorts coming in.
Right. Sachit, your view on Tata Steel? Maybe Hindalco as well?
Well, the metals clearly have been outperforming the market, and this particular sequence has been going very strong. If you look at the overall structure, Tata Steel has been trending very strong, and we have a rising 3 pattern on the candlestick front on the daily scale, which is again indicating that the stock is continuing with its momentum. We expect the stock to head higher towards levels around 355, 360, and a pattern like this again builds more confidence in this particular trend, which is going on the long side. So we expect this uptrend to continue so far as Tata Steel is concerned.
Right. Sachit, what's your view on Bharat Forge? Has continuously been declining?
Well, if you look at the broader trend, the stock has been trending way below its 200-day moving average. Even the recent up move that we saw from 750 levels ultimately got sold off at around 900. So there's no sign of strength even right now in the counter. We expect this particular decline to continue. Maybe the stock may retest the levels of 750 again. But so far as the overall trend is concerned, the trend still remains weak, and we expect the stock to head lower.
Gaurav, any view on Bharat Forge? 5% down, continuously been one of the top losers?
Well, it's been stuck in the range and at higher levels, something around 800, 810. It is seeing some amount of short positions coming in, but I don't see too much of aggressive shorts coming in, and it's just about near the support levels of 750, 760 zone. So I would rather not create shorts over here. Rather, I would just wait for some amount of stability. If it's holding on to the levels of 760 or so in next couple of trading sessions, then I think there's a chance that we may see some more upside coming in. So at not at these levels, but probably 10, 15 rupees down the line, I think it will become more lucrative for long rather than being a short at these levels.
Right. Any view on Tata Motors, Gaurav? Was up 1.5%, 2% today.
Well, yes, Tata Motors is looking a little bit decent. Having said that, it's another sort of stuck in the range 365 to 370. This is a zone from where we have seen good amount of longs coming in, and in all likelihood we will see good amount of support coming from these levels. On the other hand, 390 seems to be a very, very strong resistance for the stock. So at 380, I don't think it garners either a buy or a sell. If somebody wants, I think one can switch over from Tata Motors to Tata Motors DVR, which is on the verge of seeing some small amount of breakout on daily charts. Some longs I have seen getting built. Longs are seen getting built in Tata Motors also. But the risk reward is more favorable or tilted towards the DVR than in the Tata Motors stock itself.
Right. Sachit, any view on Tata Motors DVR?
Well, if you look at Tata Motors, I think the major move on the short-term scale has already been done, and the evidence that we have is more tilting towards an exhaustion kind of a scenario. So yes, 390, 400 is a very stiff resistance on the stock, and we've already seen one attempt being made by the stock. If you look at the RSI, we are seeing a negative divergence getting formed. So building aggressive longs from here on would not be recommended. In fact, it's a good scenario when one should take some profits from the stock and eventually wait on the lower side to again accumulate the stock. So it's not a buy on declines kind of a buy a kind of a candidate. But probably this is a good idea wherein you should book your profits and wait for a substantial decline to again accumulate the stock.
Right. Do you think DVR is a better candidate now that it's in a Nifty versus Tata Motors as well? Because volumes would tend to pick up now that it's a part of the main indices.
Well, most of the time they move in tandem, and even in DVR the case is not different. 300 290 has been a stiff resistance for the stock. We have seen the stock reacting in the month of January from the same levels. So the expectation of a move beyond 300 at this point of time is really not there. We expect some more cool off to happen in this particular stock as well.
Right. Any view on Havells? Slowly it's gone back to the 330 levels. It's been one of the top gainers for the last few days.
Yes, if you look at the overall structure, I think the stock is now gearing up to come out of the broad range. The stock was stuck within the range of 330 on the higher side, and on the lower side 240 has acted as a very good support. Eventually, after 2 years of consolidation, we are seeing a probable breakout in place. We expect this particular move to extend further. We expect levels of around 355, 360 to be seen soon. So it's a very good candidate to be bought even in a declining scenario.
Right. Would you buy right now or would you wait for a correction?
As I said, it is a very good stock even to buy right now. In case if you see a decline, probably that will be an added opportunity to accumulate the stock more.
Right. Gaurav, any view on Havells? Anything you can pick up on F&O data, because it's not a very frequently traded counter?
We had actually recommended the futures to our clients today, and we feel that there's some more upside left for the stock. So probably at these levels, or as the gentleman just said, at a little bit of lower levels, I think one can accumulate the stock. There's a chance that it may go towards 340, 350 levels. When I've seen good amount of traction coming in the option chain, it's not that liquid a counter in terms of options, but today we have seen increased amount of activity in 340, 350 strike call options. So I think one can play with the options also, or one can utilize some dips to go along into the futures, because there might be some volatility that can be seen next couple of trading sessions in Nifty. So on that front, it might see some volatility, but I think the stock is gearing up for a big move in next few trading sessions.
Right. Any view on Century Textile? Today was up 10% with 3.5 million shares in terms of volumes. Very strong volumes today.
Well, Century Textile, we would not be advising fresh entry. People who have bought can carry for next few trading sessions. But the fact is that at a price point of, let's say, 8 to 10% higher, though it has given a good breakout, we may see good amount of volumes and good amount of long positions. But a stock that has seen good amount of long positions along with good amount of price action, I think generally that leads to some amount of profit booking. It's very difficult to pinpoint at what level the profit booking might start. But certainly this is not a level from where one should try to go long. This short is not just favorable, it has given a good breakout, and there's a gap that if that gap is filled in today's gap that I am talking about, then there's a possibility that we may incur some losses. So I think it should be avoided for at least a couple of trading sessions for the fresh entry. For people who are holding, I think there's a lot of reasons to cheer.
Right. Sachin, any view on Century Textile? Do you think it's playing a catch-up with names like Ultratech, Ambuja, which have really rallied a lot, and now this cement major is also rallying?
Well, absolutely, yes. If you look at the all the cement majors, we have seen a good amount of traction there. Most of the stocks are a stock like Ultratech Cement and Grasim have already reached their all-time high levels, and we have seen a good strong momentum with very substantial volumes in today's session in Century. So there's no sign of exhaustion, yes, and we expect this particular momentum to continue. Cement is one particular area wherein the focus would be shifted, and we are liking ACC even at this point of time. And we don't really trade Century Textiles, but ACC and Ultratech Cement are still beautifully placed for another 15 to 20% upside.
Right. Sachit, tomorrow BHEL will come out with its provisional numbers. Any view on that?
Well, the stock has really done nothing. We have already seen that the major trend for the stock is still down. The stock is still finding it difficult to form a decent base. 120, 125. This has been a kind of a level wherein there has been a lot of resistance and a lot of supply. So it will be interesting to see how this particular level is negotiated. And so far as the trend is concerned, the major trend is still down. So we would refrain from creating any long positions even at this point of time.
Right. But would you take a risk ahead of results, or you would wait for the results to come out and then look for a clean pattern?
Well, as I said, the trend is clearly down, and even if we see a breakout, that may be that may not be a decisive one. I would rather wait for some more clarity in the stock. Probably what we are expecting is the stock has given us a good pullback, and the stock could again retrace back to 100, 105 levels, and that could be a decent level where one should start looking at the stock from a trading perspective.
Right. Gaurav, any view on BHEL from the FNO front ahead of results? No major activity this time?
Well, I don't see much of action happening, whether it is in terms of options or whether you talk about the futures. I don't see too much of action happening ahead of the results. So anticipation is not there probably this time around, and we have seen the stock has been better a lot. So even if it's seeing some amount of upside, I would not be too much of surprised. But yes, the only data point would be if you go back by a week or so, you've seen good amount of longs coming in around 114, 115 kind of levels, and it took it towards 120 kind of levels. So if it's holding on to 115 levels, then there are chances that we may see some more trading longs coming in. So that would be what, for 5 to 7%, 8%, and probably for a day or two. So on that front, I would say yes, if the stock is trading above 115, one can go ahead and buy 120 call option. Don't play with the futures ahead of the results, but 120 call option, I think that can become lucrative only if it's sustaining 115 levels.
Right. What would you do with Infosys? Numbers come out next Friday, which is a holiday.
I was positive on an Infosys, and it had moved 4-5 percentage points. As long as it trades above 1200, I think things will be fine. We may see the stock heading towards 1270, 1280 kind of levels, probably more. But if it's trading below 1185, then I think there will be a lot of long unwinding seeing, because it was a good breakout, good amount of longs had seen getting built. There was euphoria, there was momentum. So if it's trading below 1185, 1180, there will be a big dent in the momentum, and we'll see a lot of pressure coming in the stock. And for next few weeks at least, I don't think it will cross 1220, 1230 levels, or you can even say that it would make an intermediate top. But I would not be preempting it. Let it sustain 1200 levels. If it's sustaining, then I would be long. If it's trading consistently below 1180, then I would be short in the stock.
Right. Sachit, your view on Infosys TCS ahead of numbers?
Well, Infosys, we have clearly seen that the short-term trend is also up. We have the broader trend again tilting towards upside. We have seen a good breakout recently. It has been a slow mover. In fact, we don't have any signs of weakness yet. But yes, given the fact that it has been declining for the last 2 days, we may see the stock declining or slipping towards 1180, 1170, and that will be a good level to really buy this stock on a decline. We expect the stock to scale higher eventually. We have a target of around 1320 on our mind, and we see the stock heading towards that.
Right. Sachit, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Gaurav, always a pleasure talking to you.